Кто такой русский еврей? Откуда мы пришли? Куда мы идем? The former Soviet Union was comprised of 15 present-day countries consisting of Russia, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Belarus, Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan. Russia was the largest member of the Soviet Union with more than half the USSR's total population. After the dissolution of the USSR on December 25, 1991, Russia underwent a major economic crisis leading to high death rates, low birth rates, and the collapse of social services. What was it like for a Jewish person to live through this time period? Well, Vladimir Lenin dismissed Zionism and Judaism as a dangerous bourgeoisie movement. While the Jews might have been devoted and assimilated communists, but to be their fullest self, in their most fullest identity, devoted for nationality, was stamped Ivrei Jew, meaning Russian Jew. American writer Moshe Dechter defined this experience as a paradox of being a Jew. They are allowed neither to assimilate nor live a full Jewish life, nor to immigrate to Israel or to any other place where they might live freely as Jews. Poverty was rampant. Those with a class standing, such as traders, merchants, and artisans, suddenly found themselves without a livelihood, classified by the regime as economically undesirable. Lenin closed Russian churches and synagogues from the start of his reign. On top of that, Jews were ordered to work on Sabbath and other religious holidays. They were the last to be treated in hospitals, their children were refused entrance into schools, and rents and taxes were set to a higher rate than other citizens. Soviets took away all holidays in private. Religion was banned as it went against communistic laws. Controlling the relationship between Jews and peasants became the focus of Tsarist policy. They quoted that the government sought to save the peasants and improve the Jews. Those Jews who did assimilate into Soviet society and embraced communism, marrying a non-Jew, were never allowed to forget that they were and always will be second-class citizens. The results of these circumstances, among many, resulted in a massive financial deficit, poverty, anger, and crime arising among citizens, sense of identity, and the USSR collapsing, resulting in mass immigration and starting the diaspora. The start of the Second World War pushed the Soviet Union to develop nuclear weapons of their own to assert dominance over their Western competition, resulting in a mushroom cloud over Japanese territories in which millions of dollars were spent in hopes to declare dominance over their counterpart. Then came the invasion of Afghanistan, where the Soviets attempted to spread communism throughout the world, resulted again negatively and financially draining. The Chernobyl disaster was unexpected, crippling the economy even more so while vacating citizens from surrounding areas, as well as from one of the most utopian cities. Millions of Russians were affected by poverty that increased from 1.5% to about 39 to 49%. Violent crime, extreme corruption, criminal gangs, and lawlessness categorized the 1990s in Russia. Vladimir Lenin's successors created a dictatorship that favored highly ranked military officials and politicians over the general populace. In other words, over 80% of the Soviet people were in deep poverty, while the elite 20% were living large and luxuriously. Prior to the collapse of the Soviet Union, getting explicit permission from the government to travel abroad was highly unlikely, resulting in prison time or some cases death. Crime and corruption started to increase in the Russian government just as public infrastructure failed. Simultaneously, the gates to immigration finally opened. The entire former Soviet population now had the option to leave, to restart somewhere new entirely. Between 1880 and 1914, more than 2 million Russian Jews journeyed across the Atlantic to parts of the US, Canada, and Argentina. For some, the only destination was Palestine, even when Ottoman Turks-controlled region didn't support the idea. Ukraine and Kazakhstan held the majority of the Russian diaspora. Net migration to the far abroad between 1995 and 2002 consisted of 3 groups: Germans, Russians, and Jews traveling to Germany, Israel, and the United States. Between 1989 and 2002, only about 12% of the entire Russian diaspora decided to return. As soon as the former Soviet Union collapsed, it triggered mass immigration to the West from all former Soviet Union countries. In conclusion, it is imperative to never forget where we came from, what our ancestors lived through, and where it all began to maintain their legacy, which brings me to the present. How often do you find yourself scrolling through a photo album and thinking, wow, who's that relative? Or, wow, they really look like me through my hair or bone structure or their nose. Sometimes we see kids all grown up copying their childhood photos. So that's exactly what we did during the course of the pandemic. I've had this idea in person for some time to replicate an old family photo of an ancestor, to dress up an individual with the proper hair, makeup, and clothing to bring about the resemblances we might share as generational Jews of the diaspora. We all stem from different places, so why not try our hands at this creative process? According to the students' preference of social distancing, we utilized applications like FaceTime, Zoom, or WhatsApp, whichever platform students were comfortable with, for a virtual photo shoot. While a few students opted for an in-person photo shoot, we got to physically style their photograph and bring it to life with the use of timeless clothing, makeup, and props. Nothing a few blazers or makeup can't fix to bring my vision to life. With the help of Rabbi Scott Kalmikoff, participants were introduced to a variety of online databases to begin their research. Through use of Ancestry.com, we were able to track our progress and detail our family tree. To organize our findings, students were then asked to complete 3 follow-up questions towards this project. Number 1, how far can you trace your family, from where and what year? Number 2, who are you named after? And who did you choose to resemble in your photo? And number 3, a fun fact or interesting facts from your finding. Without further ado, we present our photo and research project. Feel free to pause the slides to read our participants' responses in full. Welcome back! Wasn't that incredible? After learning about the former Soviet Union and scrolling past our findings, you may be feeling a lot of emotions. Perhaps you even found yourself asking, how do I do this at home myself? Or where do I start? Or overall, why is this important? Well, let's go over the importance of genealogy and preserving our history. Our history has been restricted by tsars, emperors, and dictatorships. We have faced persecution beyond belief. We have been defined as second-class citizens, and we have been silenced, whereas now have finally been allowed as an RSJ to persevere beyond our wildest comprehension. Anti-Semitism is still relevant and transpires on all sides of the political sphere in varying ranges of severity, physically through violence, vandalizing property, or a different form in this day and age, the cult of social media. This culture has adopted a process that a single share of an infographic or a post made by a celebrity or influencer can spread misinformation, hatred, and incite more violence and false rhetoric across audiences in a split second, often more than twice the population of Jewish people throughout the entire world. Anti-Semitism is equally prevalent in academia, among college professors and organizations that seek to negate and dehumanize or rewrite our history, thus negating the Jewish story. Denouncing anti-Semitism now more than ever has become difficult in hopes of individuals becoming unaware how to recognize anti-Semitism through dialogue, microaggressions, or words spoken by those in government. Additionally, for the regular person, the fear of losing friendships or a career by difference of opinion or lack of understanding is transpiring beyond our very eyes, and it is beyond important to raise the question. Raising our voices in unison to speak up against any hate or injustice should be the norm, especially after understanding the patterns of historical significance, triumphs, and tribulations. These minor trends seem to become familiar, thus allowing history to repeat itself. If you would like to start your own research, start with what you know. Ask your living family members for help. Write down anyone's names, in Russian, Yiddish, English, any nicknames, etc. Dates of birth, marriage, and death. Locations of birth, marriage, and death. Relationships, spouses, parents, grandparents, siblings, children, cousins, and beyond. To sum all of this up, make an account on Ancestry.com to keep track of your records. Rabbi Scott Kalmikoff introduced our participants to Jewish Gen, the global home to Jewish genealogy. Now, full disclosure, while not everyone will find information of their family records, you still never know what you may uncover. There are numerous search points to go through, including birth and marriage and death certificates, revision lists, city and business directories, tax and voter lists, newspapers, a search for records in Belarus, Latvia, and Lithuania, Ukraine, and Moldova, discovering your ancestral town, a family finder, and the Jewish Gen online worldwide burial registry, as well as Holocaust records. Aside from utilizing Jewish Gen, please consider using this incredible list of online resources and databases to further supplement your research. I would like to extend a great big thank you to a handful of individuals to allow this quarantine project to come to life. First and foremost, Amy Posner of Hillel at the College of Staten Island, Genesis Philantropy Group, UJA, Hillel International, Scott Kalmikoff, and members of Hillel at the College of Staten Island. Without all of you, this would not be possible.